All right, we need to talk about what Martin is doing with their Road series, specifically the Retro Plus series, because damn. Now, I need to be careful about how I say this, because no, this is not a vintage D-28. This is the DE Retro Plus Granadillo edition. And this guitar is giving me major flashes of that broken in D-28 feel, sound, and aesthetics. And honestly, I did not expect this from a Road series guitar. And the cool thing about this guitar too is it's using unconventional woods, because this thing uses Granadillo sides and back. It also has an aged torrefied spruce top, LR Baggs electronics, and somehow this thing ends up sounding huge. So today we're going to dive into the DE Retro Plus series. We're going to compare this to my D-28 I have up here, and we're going to figure out what Martin is really doing with the Retro Plus series. So let's dive into it. Martin in 2026 took their Road series and split it in two directions. You have the Modern series and the Retro series. With the Modern series sounding just like you'd think, they have the single cuts, more modern approach to guitar. And then the Retro series, which we have here. This is actually the Retro Plus, the top tier of the Retro series. Now, these are going to have the full body models. They're going to have all kinds of cool vintage aging, and they're bringing in specs that you know and love with the standard series at a more affordable price point. Now, to get yourself a vintage D-28 with this type of hue on the top, that would cost you several thousands of dollars. But these are designed to feel familiar, vintage inspired, already broken in, and you still get that traditional Martin energy. And honestly, I think Martin realized something important. A lot of players don't necessarily want a futuristic acoustic. They want something that reminds them of the Martins that they grew up with, the guitars that their idols use, like Elvis, Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan, guitars that are ingrained into music history. And that's where the Retro Plus models come in. These are the cream of the crop with the Retro Road series. So what are you getting with the Retro Plus, specifically the DE Retro Plus series? Well, you're getting upgraded tone woods. You're getting scalloped bracing, ebony appointments, and you're getting a much more premium instrument compared to other Road series of the past. So let's dive into this specific model. This is the DE Plus Granadillo. Granadillo is very, very similar to rosewood. It is a Mexican wood, and this guitar is made in their Navajo, Mexico facility. And if you look at the back here, it looks absolutely premium. You're also getting a fast, solid performing artist neck, high performance taper, and you're getting the LR Baggs Element electronics. I was absolutely shocked with how broken in and how full this guitar sounded with zero adjustments. And obviously, when you take a look at this guitar, it is heavily inspired by the D-28, specifically the vintage D-28s. So why don't we go ahead and compare side to side the D-28 with the DE Retro Plus. So here we have my D-28. This is the 2026 edition, and here is the DE Retro Plus. Now, these two guitars are nearly identical in their shape. They're nearly identical in weight. I'd say that the Retro Plus is a little heavier. Now, obviously the main difference between these two guitars is this is made in America, this is made in Mexico. This one has the vintage top on it. This one has a brand new spruce top. This one's torrefied, this one is not. And if you were to get an American D-28 with a torrefied spruce top, it would likely cost you a lot more money than the standard I have here. Now, some things that are similar but very different are the binding. The binding on the Retro Plus series is actually a brighter white than it is on the standard. This is more of like a cream white. Now, obviously the fretboards are a little different too. The ebony on the DE Retro Plus has some really cool streaking across it, while the ebony on the standard D-28 is very solid, very consistent, and very dark across the model. Now, they are going to have the same inlays. They have the larger dots that go down to smaller dots. They have identical Grover tuners. And of course, the standard D-28 does not come with electronics. Now, speaking of pricing, this one's going to cost you around $3,200 to $3,400, depending on where you buy a standard D-28. This one's going to cost you around $2,000. Probably get it a little bit cheaper if there's a sale going on. So you are getting a very, very premium, high quality instrument that sounds amazing. Speaking of sound, let's dive into the tone demo. We're going to be running a mic. It's a Lewitt LCT 540S microphone. And to capture the electronics, we're going to be going direct out of the guitar into the Venue pedal from LR Baggs. Now, this is like a DI box with a lot of really great options on it. It has a built-in tuner, and it sounds absolutely superb plugging into this versus going direct. I'm gonna put a link below if you guys would like to purchase this. Huge shout out to LR Baggs for sending this to the channel for this demo. Now, I'll be switching between the mic, plugged in, and then mixing the two together. And last, we're gonna compare the DE Retro Plus to my D-28, put them head to head to hear how they sound unplugged. So let's dive in. Now, listen carefully to these two clips. Can you tell which is the D-28 and which one is the DE Retro Plus? Now, I definitely hear a difference, and I did feel a difference in the playability. Now, in my opinion, I don't think this is going to replace a D-28, but I do think this captures the vintage-inspired feel look, and sound. And if I was going on tour, I would probably bring this with me and keep the D-28 in the studio. Given this is about $1,500 cheaper than that guitar up there, I wouldn't mind banging this thing around and bringing it on the road. Now let's talk about my final thoughts. So after spending several weeks with the DE Retro Plus Granadillo, this doesn't feel like a cheap imitation of a higher-end Martin. Now if you want the full legendary Martin experience, the D-28 is still my #1 pick, and you guys can check out my full review of the 2025 D-28 below. But if you're chasing that warm classic Martin feeling with modern playability, great electronics, and something that looks broken in, then I think the DE Retro Plus is going to be your pick. And honestly, they nail the magic that is happening with this model. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment below. What do you think of the DE Retro Plus? What do you think of this top, the Granadillo sides and back? Be sure to leave a comment below. And if you're interested in more guitar content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on my future videos. Till next time, I'm Michael. Thanks so much for watching Music 4 Miles.
Yeah.